much more like I would like to follow some kind of like a AAA architecture. But yeah, so that's what my preference is. So because like in when we are working on a PC game, especially like if we are working in mobile platform also, like we'll be having a lot of I mean a lot of scenarios we have to coverage. I mean maybe every steps that involves in PC games will involve in mobile also, but when we are going for a PC game or like a PC simulate, I mean a simulation stuff that running on PC, like uh, all those factors we have to deal in a much more high scale manner, in much more advanced manner. For example, like the artificial intelligence, the graphics of the game, everything will be handling in a much more advanced level than we go for a mobile platform games. So that's what one of my like my preference, obviously. But the thing is, like like if we are working on something like that's obviously time consuming. If we are working in such a studio, obviously that's again like a different sort of scenario. Like a lot of people are involved there. So that's the thing. Obviously, like this. If I get chance, that's what I prefer to work on. But still, like that's a big deal, much of a. What kind of means, like obviously I can't just talk like that. Yeah. So obviously, like if most of you guys are, if you guys have used MPL app, like we mainly concentrate on hyper casuals. Yeah, yep. That's the main genre that we are following. So hyper casuals is all about like the implementation. Like obviously the mechanics should be perfect, but comparably, like in every when we compare it with any other game projects, obviously the mechanics are simple, but the strategy that like the all our design, like the simplicity should also be there, that and that should the that should attract the people. That's the main thing. So for we just take an example like Flappy Bird, that's a simple design actually, but that drawn for a huge lot of mass into the game. So that's the specialty of hyper casuals, and that's what we are working on now. So actually, like if we simply speaking, like a hyper casual game, maybe a single game dev itself can handle. I had developed a hyper casual game from the scratch on my own, and the overall time it took for me to develop and publish the game was about 1 month. So, but if I just take an example like a PC game, obviously more people should be involved. Apart from the art team I'm talking about, apart from the art team also, a huge lot of people need to be involved. And along with that, if I'm going solo for working on something, that will take time. Obviously, it will take years. I mean, I personally know people who had worked on AAA style games on their own singly, but they are taking 3 years, 4 years. Like there are people who are passionate about working, like every factor of the game should be done from their end only. And obviously that's a great learning curve. I mean a great learning process at in one way, like, but it is slow but a great learning process. You have to figure out everything. He will understand every mistake, that every challenge he will hit somewhere. Like if we are working like in an industry, like we know we have to finish the project as soon as possible. So like there is a technical standard, these stuff has to be followed when we are working on something that we already know we'll be following maybe, but we don't know if we didn't follow that stuff what will happen, we may don't know. Our seniors had told like this can happen if we release like this can happen, but we never experienced that on our own. uh, but if we are working on our own, there's no one to tell us like what will happen. There are no experienced people, so we'll only do this. And obviously we on our own I will see the mistake, we'll figure out the solution. So that give much more experience, but always a trade-off, like it's a slow process.
Okay, so let's come back to before you actually, since you already worked as a freelancer and then you went into full stack, landed up in a company. What was the reason why you went for the full stack game dev program? Because for me, it might be different. For you, it might be something else.
So I clearly didn't understand your question. Like, why did I prefer full stack game development? You're asking.
Yeah. Why did you sign up for full stack game dev in the first place, since you already worked in the industry?
So, like when I started in outscale, obviously I can say like that was one of a really thoughtful process was happening there, and I took a decision like that. No, like it was kind of like a leap of faith because I haven't thought much about it. I was excited regarding game development. I just wanted to meet more people who worked on that field because when before I joined Outscale, I didn't had much of an interaction with any such professional group. For example, like I was working on Unity, and I don't know anyone else who are working on Unity. So, like there may be n number of doubts we have in our mind. If we got somebody like if I met some professional, I could have directly hear what is the solution for this from directly from their mouth. So those stuff was one of the major thing that I got signed up for Outscale because obviously there in our Discord group also there's a lot of professionals there, a lot of people who are already working in the industry. So these were the reason like that was the because so obviously like the syllabus also attracted me a lot because there are hands-ons. Two projects were hands-ons. I don't know how the syllabus is right now. So at my time it was like two hands-on, one 2D and 3D projects. So those stuff really excited me. So that's where the reason. Other than that, it's not like I was searching for I need a course in full stack game development and reach in Outscale. Yeah. Oh, so that means like one student should finish 10 projects. Hmm.
On your uh, own projects. So there are separate math projects where students make their own games and figure out how to actually go about doing it.
Okay.
So, but in general, again, outside of this, since you've already worked in the industry for 2 years, are you planning to basically, what's the long-term goal for Fleming after say 10 to 15 years? Where does he want to end up?
So obviously, if you ask my plan, uh, I have to need a career growth in game development industry itself.
Okay.
So not I can't see simply like game development and the entirety of like computer graphics. Like I am like my dream is to just contribute something there.
Okay.
Okay, that's a big goal. That's a tough nut to crack, obviously.
Hmm.
Like, so I'm also gathering resources. I'm doing my hands on my own. So, like these two processes, even if I'm working on industry, still I'm doing my freelancing stuff even now.
Hmm.
Like not in an active manner, in a passive manner. When I'll get time, I'll work on that. So that obviously gives a lot of learning, and that like in the end, like if we do that, obviously that will open us more opportunities, more networks some way.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you mentioned a very technical topic, like you want to get into graphical programming.
Hmm.
Have you already done some research on it? Can you
So
share?
actually, I had worked a few stuff in Opengl.
Okay.
Yeah, I had worked on a mini sort of simulation, like a simple scene. I mean, a 3D scene that been rendering in OpenGL.
Okay.
So that's something I did. I mean, not I was not alone. Two of my friends and we did it as a project. So, like for us, the main aim was to learn OpenGL, like because that in when we are working on as a game developer, for the terms like draw calls, batching, these are just terms for us. We know it is happening. We will make some config changes inside Unity, and it is happening in the background. But here we are doing putting our hands there, like how draw calls should happen, how these stuff should batch. That we are doing.
Okay.
So we are physically seeing with our eyes, like, yeah, this is the difference is happening before patching and after patching. This is what I did, and that's why, like, I could say this much memory there. So
Okay.
that's good thing.
Okay. And how did you, so basically, how did you go about starting off in OpenGL, right? Since you don't have any resources for it out of the box, inside full stack at least, how did you approach the problem when you say like, oh, I just want to get started with graphics programming. I don't know how I will, but I figure it out along the way.
When if I say simply, like, I can say, like, it started with a simple Google search, like, how can I make a game engine on my own?
Okay.
That's a
Directly. Nice.
yeah. I mean, sometimes we have to search something foolish.
Yeah.
That's something I learned. You don't have to go technical, like, how can I learn OpenGL? How can I learn DirectX? Don't go like that. Just search with simple terms.
Okay.
Then you will end up in something good, I can say.
Interesting. Interesting.
Yeah.
Nice. Risk taker. I like that. Again, Aviral from Discord has a question. What are the skills that are not part of full stack game dev that we should work on during or after full stack game development?
Full stack, I mean, whatever skills we need other than non-technical, that we have to learn outside. That
Hmm.
I can say. Communication skill, like, we may have an idea, but still we have to convince our higher people who are in higher position, our seniors. So
Hmm.
that should happen only in a proper sort of communication. Communication means it's not about the language. Many people will just misinterpret it as language skill, like grammar skill or something. No, first of all, like, you have some concept in your mind, you have to express it verbally, diagrammatically, whatever way you have to express it to whoever it may concern. So that's the actual communication skill. So that is something you have to earn on your own, I can say.
And were you already comfortable communicating stuff before full stack, or did you work on it on your own? How did you go about approaching it?
So I can say definitely that was something I worked on my own.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Obviously, our horizon will be increased. Like, the way we can communicate something, maybe we need more terms, we need more vocabulary. That obviously we'll get from a technical course in outscale. But
Hmm.
still, the way we express it, it is something that we have to learn on our own. And obviously, like, it's not like we should mimic someone else.
Hmm.
You have your own way to express it. So
Yep.
that's how you should do.
And I think it's also something to do with experience. So
Yeah,
as you get more and more experience, you become more comfortable with your conviction over a certain topic, right? So if
right.
you know that you are right about something, if you're a very entry level person, you might say, okay, I won't push back. But once you get experience and you know that this is going wrong, you can trust me, I know this. I know how this works. I'm right
Yeah,
on. And that I guess comes with confidence over time as well.
right.
Yep. So, guys, if you guys have any other questions, feel free to drop them. I'll pick it up with Fleming. So, outside of this, Fleming, how has life been pre-pandemic? Like, I'm guessing you are working from office, or are you still working from home?
I was working from home till March, actually,
Hmm.
now, and then I relocate back to Bangalore, and now I'm working from office only.
Okay. How's Bangalore?
Bangalore awesome, obviously awesome, but
Oh,
still, like, people are just coming back. I mean, like, those crowd haven't been the same, I guess.
okay.
It has to be like, people still prefer work from home. A lot of people, because people 2 years got used to that. So they are also not that interested in coming back to office, coming back to into that habitat, we can say.
Okay.
So
But what would you prefer as a person personally?
so personally, I prefer work from office only. Why? Because, like, this turnaround time will be less if we are working from office.
Hmm.
Something maybe, if that can be done in 10 minutes, if we are in office, may take even 1 hour or 2 hours when we're sitting in the home.
Okay.
Yeah.
And out as a company philosophy, I think MPL follows hybrid right now, though, right? Since I think you're at your home in Bangalore while you're doing this session, or are you on leave today?
So actually, right now I'm in my home.
Hmm.
Like because in right now I didn't had much of a task, and I'm in the home now. Like I can do it from here also. Like we should be I mean, whenever we are necessary there, we should be there. That's the main thing. But most of the days, like I'll go to office only.
Nice, nice. So then I think I saw Bhaskar is typing a question, but in the meantime, how has OpenGL treated you so far? So how difficult was it to like draw your first pixel on screen or write your first game loop?
That was a hell lot of stuff, actually. I
So,
mean, it was like a biggest achievement when I draw first triangle on the screen.
acha.
Yeah.
So was it more of like beating a Dark Souls boss? Like, yeah, take that.
Yeah,
I implemented that.
right.
Yep.
So like something we can say, right? Like that thing is getting rendered in the screen with my engine.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So
So,
that's the thing. The algorithm is mine.
yep. Were you working on it in C++, I'm guessing?
CPP. Yeah.
Okay. And were you comfortable with C++ already, or were you a more of a Unity guy during full stack as well?
Actually, I was more comfortable with CPP more because I like the programming language that give me more control. I mean,
Okay.
memory management and stuff that is handling in our own hand, right?
Yep.
So that's the main thing I like CPP. And obviously, like CPP programs, I mean, I'm not generalizing, but still, from my experience, CPP programs are much more efficient. So I like CPP, irrespective of the factor that it's more difficult than any other languages.
Okay.
So, and even in Outscale also, I got a really good experience with CPP, especially in VS and Algo. We were using CPP only. And that's the main, that was the time like I get into more comfortable with CPP, I can say. Before that, we didn't had face much that kind of a program, code snippets or anything. Why? Because I was not a CS student before. So for me also, CPP experience was basic, pretty basic before. But
Hmm.
in the DS and Algo, I learned many advanced stuff really. So after that, it was after that I started working on this project, and obviously it was easy for me. And obviously there is a lot of stuff I learned from this project only when working on CPP. Like there are stuff like keeping header and source file separate. These stuff I really didn't knew even before, because we never do that before. Like when we are writing code, small code snippets, but when we handle a big CPP project, the steps are different that I learned later.
Nice. Sounds good. I don't know if you are allowed to answer this, but I'll ask it anyway. I have heard MPL is planning a AAA studio. Is that true? But
So as you said, like I'm not allowed to answer those sort of questions. Like you can obviously approach our media team on that. Our customer support team also can help on that.
nice.
But yeah,
So, since your company is growing, how do you see growth in the industry in general? How do you see the gaming industry shaping up in the next 5 to 10 years?
so I mean, in the pandemic period itself, like gaming industry get a lot of mileage, I can say.
Yep.
The industry got accelerated exponentially in this period.
Okay.
That's why a lot of job opportunities have also came. So if we just keep this pace on, like what to say, these stuff has to be like right now. These are the time of VR and AR, especially.
Hmm.
People are just shifting from conventional gaming to VR and AR. Like we can see a lot of arcade games are VR AR versions are coming. AAA studios are investing in VR and AR.
Hmm.
So I can see the future in those actually. Apart
Okay.
from PC gaming, Xbox or like whatever, like the VR gadgets will be more in common within 5-10 years. I can see.
Nice. And what, according to you, what was your say, as you see growth in this, what do you think is the biggest challenge while trying to pick up these skills?
Pick up these skills in the sense I
I,
can say like. apart from any other, like everyone, like a game developer is indeed a software engineer. But comparing with any other software engineer, like for us, challenges are more because they are just in a normal scenario, like programming aspect is only has to be handled from a software engineer perspective. But when we are working on a gaming industry as a game developer, there is an art perspective also there. Like, yeah, right, we are not the one who is working on the arts, but still we should have an awareness regarding that, how and what it will end up in the end. So those stuff only if we have that picture, like if we can visualize that thing only, we can do that. So that's the one thing, like game developer should be someone who also have an artistic mind, I can say.
Okay.
I mean, simply speaking, we can understand like the way, if you just look the solo projects that somebody do, okay, the way the game was done, we can understand like what is that particular person's art mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Since you just mentioned what skills would be needed, according to you, what advice would you give a fresher just trying to enter the gaming industry?
Trying to enter the game industry, like the first thing I can say, the thing that I did itself, because obviously the major challenges I before joining Outscale, when I approached a company, like I mean when I sit for interviews, like I hardly been able to pass through that. Why? Because the main thing was lack of experience. So because that there's no, somebody should give us an opportunity, then only we can gain experience, right? So that was the major reason. Like I started working, I started doing freelancing, I started working project on my own. And so that, like I also thought, like in the end I can show something in my portfolio with that. And then and that was gave me a first actually a starting, even in a startup company for 6 months I was able to enter there because of that, because I had something to show them.
Okay.
So even after joining Outscale also, that was the first thing from Outscale, and I go like, you have to develop your resume, you have to develop your portfolio. So that's the first thing, like do the hands-on your own. If like in Outscale, everybody, like if everyone in Outscale, I can say like use the platform as much as you can, because your syllabus can give you a lot of opportunities. Guys who are on out of scope of that, they can work on their own, they can do the solo projects on their own. Nobody's preventing you. Personal version of Unity is free, or else any other game engine are available. Lot of resources are free, so they can do their own.
Just start, like make one game in your portfolio ideally.
Simple one, go for a hyper casual game, a simple idea. I can how I started was like, there was at my time there was a 10-minute challenge going on regarding Unity. I mean, again, it was something like a Unity dev should, I mean, Unity dev should develop a full-fledged, not a full-fledged game, a working prototype of a game in 10 minutes. That was a challenge, and a lot of YouTube stars in Unity had tried them. So among them, there was one project I was seriously interested in, and that was my starting point to do a hands-on on my own. So do something simple, because it doesn't matter how simple it is. Like in the end, you have to pass through every factor that you have to do before releasing a game.
And that's how Launchpad started as well internally, because we identified that there's a lot of people who have not experienced proper game development skills, right? So if you, I don't know if you know about the Launchpad program, but it's like, again, 100% scholarship based program where people who are just interested in game development, they can apply, and based on the answers and passion that we see in them, we give them a 2-week scholarship to attend and make their first game.
Okay.
It did not exist when you were there, it did not exist when I was there, but it's something that we came up with internally. Given that option, would you recommend Launchpad to someone who...
Okay, I actually didn't understand that clearly. So is it like a group, somebody who is interested is pitching you with an idea or something, and you are...
So if we are someone who just wants to make your first game, right? doesn't you know some programming language, maybe you know Unity as well, but your skills are not at the level that they're supposed to be. Want to work on a project while understanding a bit about what you're missing, basically. So over 2 weeks, depending on how good you are at programming and Unity, you work on a project, depending on whether you are a beginner, intermediate, or advanced. And that project is going to be added into your portfolio, which you can then build on top of going forward as well. So it's like perfect for someone who just wants to explore the gaming industry.
Okay, so totally the resources, when if they got stuck in somewhere, like those resources will be from Outskill.
Resources plus live mentor sessions like we do in full stack. So
Okay, fine.
I have one at 7 which I am taking. So
Okay.
that option we've unlocked for more passionate audience. So it did not exist back then. Now that it exists, would you recommend Launchpad to people who are trying to get into the gaming industry?
Yeah, definitely. Like the concept is really good. Like people who is passionate about doing it and get stuck there. Like obviously, like for me, when I was doing, like as I said, there was no one to give me a direction. Like when I was doing my first project, so that gap can be reduced a lot. People even like the people can may work on multiple projects like that. So obviously, I'll recommend from my end.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Bhaskar is asking what will be the future scope of work from home from company perspective.
So it depends upon the company. There are companies who say like they are happy to give full on work from home, and there are companies who said like whatever is the situation, people should come back to the office. So it depends. Like the way the company is working depends upon that. There
Okay.
may be companies like more the like people have to physically be in around and sit around and do the brainstorming sessions. So they will probably prefer work from home. I mean, I'm sorry, work from office.
Yep.
But the others, obviously, like there are like depends. Like if ICs, individual contributors, like they can just take the task that can be done in the time and finish. So they can work in home also,
Yeah. Plus, it depends, I guess, on the scale of the company as well. If it's
right?
small startup focusing on one core product, it's somewhat manageable. But if you're in a big company, you'd like to have everyone under one roof so people can talk to each other as quickly as possible as
No, actually, like that is much more of like a trust and everything. Like obviously, a startup company who is working on their own project, they may won't be that much interested in giving a source code and everything to someone and let them sit in the home. There are situations. So, like it depends upon the mindset of the company. Actually,
yeah.
like what you said is also a point, but there are companies who do otherwise also.
Yeah, for me, it has been always open-ended. Like my time as answer, they did not give me like you don't work on your machine. We'll give you the machine that is locked behind something, etc. That was never the case. They were like, we trust you with what you're writing. We know that you won't share this code across with someone else.
Yeah.
Same carried over here. So,
Right. That's mainly the point. Like
yep,
the percentage of trust they have overall.
yep.
Yeah.
Cool. If there's no other questions, I have another one for you. How was your experience while building like your first game on the job versus when you were doing freelancing? Plus, while what has the difference been between releasing a project versus delivering a project to a freelance client?
So obviously, like when I compare my first project and you were asking like my first project and the first project I did in my company, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So first thought like came to my mind was like what a fool I was. Like there was a lot of stuff I could have improved in my projects.
Yep.
This I could have known these stuff before because I had spent a lot of time. I wasted a lot of time. If I knew this, I could have done this faster. As I said, like time. This is a time-consuming process, right? I mean, still it works. Like irrespective of the time we are taking, still it works. We are spending that time, but we'll still feel it now. Like because I did a lot of stuff, but I could have simply used this thing. So that those are things, because those
Yep.
template was made in years of experience from employees, right?
Hmm.
So that's the first thing that came to my mind, because that template if I had before, that's one thing. And regarding the freelance client, it somewhat depends upon the attitude of the client also. There are clients like, what to say, they need everything to be done from our end, like,
Hmm.
what to say, they won't be having any technical knowledge aspect. For example, like, they will simply see the business of it, like, yeah, see, in the pandemic, people are like, game industry is making a lot of money, so if we can directly invest there, we can do this stuff. So they will simply pitch in a freelancing platform, they'll hire a developer, and they will expect them to do everything. They actually are not aware about the building process and their process of doing it. So they will literally expect everything, even the art from our end. We should even design the art of the game. So that is one approach, like, so we'll be also not that comfortable in working with those projects. Other than that, there are people who are technically sounded. So so obviously, like, they like, there won't be much of an interaction, but obviously they know, like, they will already modularize the entire project, and we may have to work on a single module. And obviously they know, like, because with that module we are not going to do anything, like, maybe this may be their process of doing, like, they'll hire multiple freelancers, separate modules are given to everyone, combine them later. So like, an individual freelancer may won't even know the idea regarding what is the project exactly is. Okay,
Yep.
it is simply like that, simply bought and just plugged into his main project.
Drag and drop or
Yeah,
plug and
right,
play. Nice.
that's the thing.
Okay, so you worked as a freelancer, you worked as like a full-time game dev. This is going to be my last question. I'm going
Yeah.
to be respectful of your time. Uh, what would you recommend as a career path long term? Would you prefer being freelance or would you prefer being full-time?
Freelancing is like this. It is like working in a movie, actually. There are actors who get a really high, hell lot of money. There are
Yep.
people who are struggling to do their daily routine even. There
Hmm.
are people sitting there just getting a job, it done, and sitting for 1 year without getting anything else. So the
Hmm.
same happens here. It depends. Like, there are freelancers who will demand, who will tell their price. There are freelancers, they will agree with the price of the client.
Hmm.
So if you can show some exceptional kind of talent, then obviously freelancing will be a good path.
Hmm.
It is like, you should be the god of everything, like,
Hmm.
they will ask something that they may won't even have an idea about what they're asking about. If
Yep.
you can show such kind of a brilliance, such kind of a talent, then freelancing is really good. You can make a lot of money than working on a regular industry. Apart, other than that, like, in working in a company will be much more safer. Like, it's always a trade-off. This is the freelance, this part is dangerous and more rewarding. So this will be less rewarding and less dangerous, so like that.
Yep. I would disagree on the second. Like it's less rewarding. It's less dangerous. Yes, I do agree. But depends on the kind of job you end up in, right? So uh,
Yeah,
when
that
I
is.
joined Outscale, I never thought that I'd get into like working on different products. I used to think that I'll always be a technical guy who
Hmm.
will master his technical skills and go deep into tech.
Yeah,
But
yeah, obviously, like, the attitude of the company, as we discussed before.
yes, cool, cool.
Yeah.
Sounds good. I don't have any other questions. If there's anything you would like to add, go for it. And guys, feel free to follow Fleming on LinkedIn. I'll share his LinkedIn across on event chat. So go to him, connect with him, ask questions. He'll be more than happy to answer, I guess.
Yeah, so from my end, I have nothing else to say. If anybody have any questions, we can go on.
Okay. Final call. Any questions? If not, we are good to go. Okay, no questions. It seems cool. Thanks, man. Thank you
Yeah,
so much, Clement,
yeah,
for spending time with us. I'll be in touch. If there's any feedback for full stack and launchpad, feel free to share it across with us.
yeah,
And
sure.
Piyush, if there's anything you'd like to share, feel free to share it. And I guess that's it from my end, at least.
Nope, I think this was all in all a great session. Ideally, you can feel and see when two game developers are talking, and the kind of depth that you covered today, it wouldn't have been possible the otherwise, right? Because today we covered a lot of those questions that a lot of people here might have, but they might not be even able to frame those questions and put those out to Fleming. And when it comes from someone who has had experience of both learning from outscale and then actually working in a company like MPL, it was a great session all in all. So yeah, again, thank you so much, Fleming. Thank you for your
Yeah,
time, and we would love to host you again someday. And maybe very soon when we kickstart another launchpad or another full stack game dev program, like few months down the lane, because it's inspiring. Whenever some alum of Outscale comes and share their journey in the industry with everyone. So yeah, I guess that is it. And thank you everyone who has taken out time and joined this session. And for those who are watching this on YouTube or LinkedIn, feel free to join the Discord community. You'll find the link in the description. And we have a lot of events coming up in this week. And one event that I am really, really excited about is event that is happening on 13th. That is this Friday with Joseph, founder of Leela Games. So he'll be coming with the CTO of Leela Games. And I'll drop the link in the event announcement channel and in the event chat channel as well. So you guys can, simply click and set reminder for that. Again, for those who are on LinkedIn and YouTube, click on the description and come into the Discord. So that's it. Thank you so much. Thank you, Manas. Thank you, Pamit. Bye bye.
Okay. Thanks, guys.